Hey guys, it's Tanner Manson from Future Investing, and today I want to talk to you guys about JETS ETF, ticker symbol JETS. Just as a disclaimer, although I am actually a licensed financial security advisor as my full-time job, none of these stocks or topics that we spoke about today are in any way my recommendation. This is merely my opinion, and you can choose to do what you wish with this information. Now, it's a little bit different than what we're used to because it is an ETF, all right? Unlike your regular stock picks that you see on YouTube, the JETS ETF follows a wide range of airlines based in the United States, as well as some other companies that are involved in the sector, like Boeing, who manufactures almost all of the airplanes that we see in the United States, aside from Airbus, but they're European, so they don't track it on JETS. There is a little bit of an expense ratio that you have to pay to be able to get into JETS ETF. It's about 60 cents per $100 per year, okay? It's a very small price to pay to get the convenience and with no trading fees, purchasing into one portfolio of stocks that alters its weights depending on which company has the highest market cap, right? Because we want to be in the companies that are highestly weighted in this sector. So it has all the management there, and yes, you pay for that, but the price overall is not really anything to scoff at, especially whenever you think of a post-pandemic dividend rate of around 2.3%. It's actually pretty good for the sector, and to be able to get 2.3% and only pay 0.6 of that away to make sure that you get the convenience of having every company, because if you do have any trading fees at all, to be able to buy all of these companies would cost you so much more than the amount that it costs to get 0.6% on an ETF, right? So why JETS ETF and why not some individually picked airline companies? Well, it's simply put that I don't know much about those airline companies. It's very hard to tell why one company in these airline sectors are better than the other. All of their business models are very much the same, and it's hard to predict those sort of why someone would take Delta versus American Airlines. All right, and even Warren Buffett said a very similar thing. Whenever he put $7 billion into airlines, he put it into the 4 biggest US-based airline companies and just let it sit. The reason he did that and not bought JETS himself is frankly because JETS only has $1.7 billion in net assets altogether. And Warren Buffett putting in $7 billion, I mean, why take that price? He can just make his own ETF, which is practically what he did there. Now, let me go over to why I think that this ETF is going to do better than a lot of the choices on the stock market today. And that is simply the upside potential because of the Rona situation. So there is a very real chance that if some real stimulus isn't given to these airlines and people don't continue flying within the next given months, we will start to see some companies not be able to make it. They're going to file for bankruptcy and sell their assets. Now, if you were in one of those companies alone and that was your airline play, well, then you're out. You lost all your money. But buying JETS allows it so then not only are you buying the companies that are winning, and yes, some that are losing, and overall, is the sector going to lose? Not in my opinion. But anyway, let's stay on track. Let's say, for example, American Airlines goes under. They have X amount of planes that they have to sell off in order to pay off all the debts that they have and, bond owners and all these things. Well, who are they going to sell those airplanes to? Who are the buyer of airplanes? Other companies that are in JETS ETF. Now, they would take advantage of the low prices that they could get for those airlines, and you also own those in these ETFs. So your downside is protected regardless if American Airlines goes under or Delta or something along these lines. I'm saying this, but it's not exactly true. There are other companies that purchase airliners that would be able to purchase, if American Airlines went under, their planes without being in JETS. A really good example of this would be Amazon, right? They have 70 something planes already, and they're not doing anything but growing. So during that time, if American Airlines was to go under, there is a little bit of downside where you could get some, who knows, FedEx or DHL or Amazon, or these companies able to come in there and scoop up some of the planes. But for the main part of that, I'm sure it's going to be the airliners that also do this. That's their whole business, And so if you already have those seats and everything in there that they want for their airlines and all the safety equipment and everything, that's a perfect opportunity to get some cheap Boeing airplanes or Airbus or whatever. Now, that downside that we spoke about is if we don't get stimulus for our airlines, right? Or if flying doesn't start to pick up. Now, with 3 vaccines on the way that are coming in with 90% success rates that who knows might get FDA approval very soon, I don't think this whole no flying thing is going to happen that long. Or nor has it even existed since April. You can see the numbers here of back in April, whenever there was around 90,000 people flying per day. Now, already back into November, you can already see that these numbers are up way higher than people had expected. 800% higher, in fact, than what was happening back whenever the pandemic had started back in April. And the numbers of COVID cases are way higher. But now, the safety on these planes are not exactly the same. They're saying that the chance of you getting COVID in between on these flights is so minimal that they are even able to bring back the middle seat on these planes. But let's imagine that this vaccine doesn't come out for another 6-8 months. And getting FDA approval on these vaccines is only one thing. Getting into mass production is another thing, but that's off topic. So it might be 6 to 8 months. All right. Something along those lines. I'm making that number up now. But where is the downside protection for these airlines if these vaccines don't come out immediately? And that, my friends, I would say is stimulus. All right? And that is that me being in Canada, Trudeau has already spoken about a plan talking about adding stimulus to the airline sector, specifically the airline sector. As well as with a new Biden administration, go blue, but they do bring the stimulus. I don't see a lot of companies going down with Biden in office. I don't think there will be a hard time printing there. So these are real things that we have to look at whenever we're talking about how risky is this investment. Warren Buffett actually had $7 billion in airlines and pulled them out back in May. Lost a ton of money and sold at absolute extreme lows, which before would be a very scary thought, knowing that he had lost so much money. Where are the red flags that he sees? And he's no dummy, so shouldn't we get out too? But he sold out around the $12, $13 area, okay? And today it's $20. So was it really the best choice that he could have made? Probably not. Now, I don't know if there was some opportunity cost there, but I highly doubted he's sitting on $140 billion. Now, I want to drop all the complicated stuff about Berkshire. Let's get back to Jets, but I think it's not too bad of an option to think about these airlines as part of your portfolio. So let's take a look at the stock chart for Jets and see exactly where was the price before the pandemic. Let's take a look at what it was right in the midst of it during April, May area, which is, I think, where they bottomed out. And then we'll talk about the price today, post-vaccine news. I think it went back up to about $17.70. And now, as of today, it's hovering around $20 to $21. Full disclosure, just so you guys are aware, I do own a portion of my portfolio in JETS ETF. It's my second biggest holding, and I hold at an average price of around $14. Whenever you look at $14 to the now $20, I'm very happy with my choice. It's no tech boom or marijuana boom, but it's a safe, steady choice for what I want to do with with my money, right? And that's only at $20. Now I'm close to up almost 50% now, and the price before the pandemic was at $30 a share. That's another 50% opportunity going forward. Hopefully, for myself, whenever I had purchased it, I thought, if a vaccine was able to come out, then I've doubled my money. Now, at the time, we didn't really know what this vaccine was, so it's taken a little bit longer. But just because we're early doesn't mean we're wrong. I actually think today is a better price to be able to get into JETS than it was at the time that I had purchased into. I was waiting a longer period of time, holding back since April and May, while during now might be closer to whenever the pandemic starts to wrap up. Now, I don't know when it's going to wrap up, but with 3 different vaccines with 90% success rates coming out, I'm sure one of these will get FDA approval, and we'll move on to the next step of manufacturing these vaccines and getting it out to the masses. And by that point, you know people are going to want to take a vacation after this, get flying again, get out of this mess, and head back into regular, normal life. Now, I'd hate to do it to him by using his own quotes against him, but you have to be greedy when others are fearful. Warren Buffett is very fearful from the airlines right now, even though I think a lot of the downsides are protected from a massive stimulus and an unlimited buyback plan that the Federal Reserve has set up. So if there is something that's going to cut America's supply chain off, or a lot of our airlines are going to start dying, they will throw trillions of dollars to make sure that none of that happens. They did it before, they'll do it again, right? They did it back in 2008 with the banks. Who's to say that if our entire airline sector was going to start shrinking, that they weren't going to lift it back up? All right, guys, you tell me what you guys think about this JETS ETF, whether it's a buy or a sell in your opinion. I mean, personally, as you know, I'm a big buyer. I'm still buying today, and I'll be buying all the way up until it hits $30. As long as I know that I'm going to make money at the end of the day, I'm happy parking my money there. If you like this video, please give me a like. It means a lot for the channel, and subscribe if you want to see more content. But aside from that, I got a couple more videos coming up this week, and I'll see you on the next one, all right? See ya.